Welcome to the Business of Family, the podcast where we explore the stories, challenges, and opportunities of family businesses. I'm your host, Tammy Buss, and I'm a family business survivor, and I'm also a family business advisor. In this show, we'll be talking with family business leaders and experts to bring you insights and inspiration so you too can survive your family business journey. Whether you're a founder, a successor, a professional, or just curious about family business, this podcast is for you. So today I'm thrilled to introduce a guest who embodies craftsmanship, innovation, and legacy. Dominic Luisi, president of Rubinet Faucet Company. Based in Ontario, Rubinet is a proudly Canadian manufacturer known for its luxury faucets and fixtures, blending timeless design with cutting-edge engineering. Since its founding in 1981, the company has remained family-owned and fiercely committed to quality, with Dominic at the helm for driving both tradition and transformation. From pioneering patented plumbing technologies to leading Rubinet into global markets, Dominic brings decades of insight into what it takes to build a brand that lasts and a family business that thrives. So let's dive into the story behind the shine. Dominic, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Well, I'm glad you could make the drive in. It's kind of nice to have somebody here in the studio.
Yes, I wouldn't do it any other way, actually. So.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
like old-fashioned that way. I can't do these things on the computer screen. So.
Yeah. Well, it does take a little bit of getting used to.
Yes.
So I want to start by telling us a little bit about the history of how you started a family business in the faucet industry. That's sort of an interesting.
Yeah, it's a pretty good story, actually.
Yeah. So how did that come about?
Well, originally it was because I couldn't get a job, so I had to create my own. But actually, I started in hardware at a very young age. I was working for a decorative hardware company. By the time I was 21, I was basically starting my own business with cabinet hardware and importing some toilets from Mexico and stuff like that. By the time I was 28, I was broke. I lost everything. I was way overtraded. Took a job for 2 years with a company that was going to actually finance us, but the deal fell apart. But they hired me, which was great. So those 2 years gave me an opportunity to get myself back on my feet, because at that time, I had actually jeopardized my parents' house. There was a mortgage on my parents' house that I had to, which I tried to keep away from my parents, not letting them know how bad the situation was. But taking on this job, within 2 years, I paid off the debt, got back on my feet. And of course, as soon as I got back on my feet, I went back on my own. What I did learn was that I wanted to be in an upscale market. I didn't want to depend on, I really didn't want to depend, for the people with a disposable income of $100 at the end of the month, that they were going to, that's what I was kind of used to before, selling lower price product and toilets and stuff like that. And it was always like, what happens if that $100 goes away, the $200 goes away? We're done. And that's how I lost everything when I was 28, because of that. Because the interest rates went up, the economy, it was a tough time. So I wanted to be in the upscale, so guess what I did? I took a trip to Italy, went to a trade show, and I'm looking for hardware, plumbing products, but more in the fashion side of the business. What was the up and coming? And I came across these beautiful faucets, expensive as hell, mind you. And I said, I think this is what I want to do, because the colors, the designs, everything was spectacular. And so I gravitated towards that. And I think what happened with that was that I couldn't really afford to do the marketing and everything. I had very little amount of money saved up to start up. So I started importing these faucets, and the common denominator with all these Italian faucet companies was rubinetteria, meaning faucets in Italian. So, but of course, I wanted my own brand. I had learned I had to develop my own brand to have a long-term plan to build up a business. You got to have a brand, because if you're representing other manufacturers, or you could lose it at any time. It could be taken away from you. If you do a great job, the chances are you're going to lose it. If you don't do a good job, the chances are pretty good you're going to lose it too. So I figured I got to build my own brand. And so what I did is I came up with this name, Rubinet, which was basically covering the teria off of Rubineteria. So no matter what I brought in, their boxes always said Rubineteria Justina or Cristina Rubineteria or something like that. And I would cover the whole name and just leave out the Rubinet part. And it's kind of a combination of, it was a combination of basically the French, the Italian, and obviously the English, right? So that's how that name came about. And so I started by myself. Now, to think that, we would be doing what we're doing today, I'm really not that sharp. Like, this thing just evolved into what it is today, Tammy. So, yeah. So,
well, you had to be pretty sharp or it wouldn't evolve.
Yes. Well, yeah, I think that there was many challenges to getting here. But I quickly realized once I started to import these faucets, these beautiful faucets, I've always been pretty good in the creative side and design and drawing and stuff like that. But we were really lacking the North American mentality with this beautiful European design product, which is the North American mentality is it's a very simple one. It's practicality, right? Mm-hmm. Practicality, function, performance. Where the European is all, it's more of the flair and everything else. And we'll make it work. We'll adapt. And so I thought if I can integrate those two things, which is really the practicality of the North American market, along with that European design, I think we could really evolve into what it is today. And I think that's where we were forced to start creating our own product and buying component parts and putting them together in certain ways to meet the North American standards and the practical side of the business. So that eventually evolved into us creating our own look, our own visual. Again, we now had all these, what we call the engines, the guts, right? We've had developed over the years. And now when we added that cosmetic part to it, the design aspect, we combined the two of them, and basically that's how we built the Rubinet brand. And that's where we are today.
And so you built this brand, was this before you had kids, or were you building this while you had kids?
No, I was doing, I had one son when I started it. He was probably a year and a half old. Yeah. Yes, a year and a half, which was my oldest son, Frank. And so this whole thing was being built while I was building my family at the same time, which was a bit of a challenge, to say the least.
As every family business owner says.
Yes. And that thing about happy wife, happy life. Well,
so true. I can attest to that.
Yeah. Try and do that while you're, trying to build a business. So it's a little tough, but somehow it's a balancing act. You gotta make it work. You don't have a choice.
No. And did the boys come in? Because you have two boys.
Yes.
Did the boys come into the shop when they were younger?
Yes, Frank came when he was probably in his early teens. He started to come in, but he was really bad at it. He wasn't good at it at all. I had to fire him. He was just coming there to fool around and having fun. He really had no interest in it. He was Frank is kind of interesting because he was he was dancing. He was dancing on the street, on the boardwalk in Atlantic City to New York, Chicago. He was, he was traveling around, and he'd come home with these brown bags full of $1 bills that he collect on the street, and we got him in. He was pretty creative. Got him into an art school, in a special school actually, Claude Watson, I think it was called, and. But he didn't last there either. He was a bit of a bad boy, and we had to take him out of there. So, but he continued on with his dancing and traveling, and got pretty good at it. So was judging these things. And one day, I think in his early 20s, he said, "You know what? I've been thinking. I don't know if I want to do this my whole life. This dance thing. I don't know if I could have the lifestyle that I'm kind of accustomed to at that time. So maybe I could join you." I go, "Yeah, that'd be great," because I've never pushed my kids to join me. I mean, let's see what happens, right? So he actually wanted to join me, and of course, I think his he had a completely different interpretation of joining me. He thought he was coming in as VP.
As the boss, yeah.
And he wanted to dump his pickup truck and pick up a BMW along the way. And he was more concerned about his salary and what his title was going to be and what car he was going to drive, thinking that, he could just... I said, "No, son, that's not how it works." I got some bad news for you, right? So so what we did is I told him, "Listen, you're going to have to start way at the bottom." I said, you got to earn respect. You got to know what you're doing. You can't just, come in there and think, people are going to laugh at you. You're going to be a joke, You got to earn that respect. And the way you're going to do that is to start at the bottom, know everything along the way, learn all the steps. And one day you'll get that BMW and you'll get that title, which I'm proud to say he's now a VP, right? But he still drives a pickup truck, which he loves.
And how long has he been with you now?
Well, he's 46 now, so let's do the math, 20 some odd years.
Yeah.
Right.
And then how did your other son come into the business?
Another interesting story. Michael, my younger son, he was totally different. He would come to work at like 8 years old and wanted to make enough money to buy his Scoopy slippers or something. He was adding up the hours. He was always very detailed and very structured, and yeah, so he was there all the time. I remember him as a little boy, but he had no interest in being in the business. Really, not at all. His heart was in. He's a phenomenal writer. He's a great musician, amazing drummer. And he wanted to be a director, and he wanted to be in film and movies and all that. And then he went to school for it, and he took all that up. And so that wasn't going so well for him. So again, he said, "I just want to clear my head. Can I just come and work there like in assembly, so I until I see what I'm going to do?" And I said, "Sure. I mean, yeah, why not? Of course, you're always welcome." So so he came to work there. Maybe he was probably, I would say, probably in his early 20s when he came to work full time. But he didn't want to have anything to do with the business, nothing to do with management. He just wanted a position in the back, and he didn't want to attract no attention, which is probably the best thing that could have happened, because he also learned the business from the ground up, And of course, what happens is, you meet the right girl, you get married, you want a family, and all of a sudden, economics comes into play, right? As usual, right? Money starts to become important, same kind of thing, except Michael wasn't as arrogant as Frankie that he wanted to be vice president. He just wanted to work his way up and really learn the business, right? So I'm proud to say that they both work from the ground up, and honestly, I have to say we never, I always thought it'd be great to have them join me and to have a legacy in the business. That, of course, I think that's probably every guy's wish, right?
Yeah,
From your experience, I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting because, a lot of times that parents want to push their kids in a different direction. Or in the case of your kids, they go off in a different direction, but they end up coming back. And for various reasons. So I'm always, saying don't discount the fact that they could come back or might want to come back if they're given the right opportunities or explained what the opportunities are or the situation, changes. So here you are now. You've got both boys for 20 plus years working with you.
Exactly, and the great thing about it is, like I said, these are two different personalities, two different characters altogether.
I often wonder that, when I say this to my husband all the time, how can we have two kids drinking the same water, living in the same house, same parents, and they be so completely different?
Isn't that interesting? Yeah.
And it seems to be that's the case for just about every family, right? They're so different, but they have their own, positive qualities and traits. Right?
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because when you were asking me before how you grow the business and the family and everything, but I actually made it a point, because I was always busy. I was working weekends and I was doing trade shows, whatever it took, to keep this. There was a lot of unpleasant days and weeks too, in building this business. But I always made it a point with my boys that I would take a day off a month during the week and take them out of school, but individually, though, never together.
Oh, right, yeah.
And we used the night before, they would plan the next day, right? And we would call it a fun day. So, and the whole idea was to spend some real good quality time together. And the different personalities would be, Michael would make a list of like the very simple things, like going to the comic store and picking up a couple of comics and spending hours upon hours there, and and then maybe going to the mall and eating at a specific restaurant for breakfast or dinner, whatever, because it'd be a whole day event. And my other son, Frank, of course, was like going to Chicago to watch the Bulls game, for the day. And of course, we did that because it was whatever they wanted to do.
I think there's a movie about that called Yes Day, right? They get to do whatever they want for the day.
So, and I've always honored their wishes to do that. So, again, the different personalities, different. But that's worked out so well in our environment today, at our work today. I mean, one guy is basically, kind of running the whole operation side of the business, got acquainted with the financials and runs the production and staff and all that, and the other guy is like sales and marketing.
Do they have their own lanes?
Yeah, exactly, totally. I'm saying it couldn't have really worked out any better. So
now, was that they just happened to do that, or was there any kind of plan?
I think I don't want to take the credit, but I think I will, though, because I kind of. I kind of directed them, because knowing their personalities and everything, kind of directed them in that way,
where their strengths
where their strengths are, right? And who would know that better than the father, right?
So your boys now been around for a long time in the business. They have their own children. They've got 5 children.
Yes,
combined,
one of them has 3. Yeah, one of them has 2.
So what does succession look like then? Your first generation. We've got second gen working in the business.
Yes.
Is that succession plan, worked out? Have you started talking about it? What about Gen 3? I mean, what's the plans?
We're basically in the process, because I've been dealing with some health issues too recently, but which kind of, made me really, push the thing a little faster than normal. I thought I'd be, working till 100 or whatever. So, and you really have, I don't know, the attitude is so laid back. Oh, we got plenty of time, and I've always said that, like it was never a priority. I just figured it would evolve and we would get all this stuff sorted out over time, right? But really in the last year and a half, I've been kind of pushing it forward a lot quicker. And it's probably turned out to be a really good thing because I'm now stepping back. Basically, you could see me stepping back almost by the month. I'm doing less and less, and they're taking on more and more, which is really good. And of course, I'm there. I'm there for if they need me. But
Right.
basically, we're at this point. They're really running the business. Which I'm proud to say. So, and again, like I'm there if they stumble upon a few things that they're not sure about. We'll meet probably once a week. The three of us will go for lunch and just recap what's going on. And but even before this, though, we would take a couple of days and we would go away. We would arrange for the three of us, just the three of us, to go away, probably once a year, maybe every 2 years, and for the three of us to just kind of reconnect and we would have these conversations about the future and stuff like that. And I quickly realized that these guys really want to do this, and I think that's the most important thing, right? Is that they want to do this, they want to pursue this, and something they really want. I think that's key. The second thing, obviously, is, they need to have the skills, and and they did. Along the way, they developed all these.
And did
skills.
they go out to get additional skills, like when you realized that maybe something was missing?
Yes, like Michael, for instance, took a quick accounting course because he realized he had some weaknesses. Frankie's always had this interest in. He's always had this interest in the marketing, and today, I mean, it's really changed. Like I could say, I was pretty good in marketing. Like that was my strength. Like that was, but it's changed so much. It used to be print and it used to be TV commercials, which is a different story, which maybe we'll have time to talk about that. But today it's about, social media and Instagram and all that kind of stuff. It's really different, totally different. So and they're both very good at it.
So have you spoken to the boys, or do you have a sort of vision on what you'd like to see with the business moving forward, for sort of from your legacy and what they see, with the 5 kids coming up as the next gen? Do you see this as a business to be around for multiple generations?
Well, yes. Well, yeah, I think the answer to that is definitely yes, because we operate it as if though it's going to be in the family forever.
Does that mean you've documented it and everybody's in alignment?
Did we go that word? Not that good, Tammy.
Maybe that's why they sent you in today, to get you on the same page.
Oh my God, we got a serious problem. No, I mean, I think we do this through a lot of conversation, and I know we're all on the same page. That's a fact. And like I said, we run the business like it's going to be in the family forever, and hopefully their kids are interested in it and take it over.
Do you think that they'll talk to their kids differently now that it's a second generation business and they're Gen 3? Do you think that those conversations, that succession conversation, will be different than the one that you had with the boys?
Probably because and it's a combination of a startup business where it's now like well established. Like my challenges were, trying to make the rent and the wages and everything, and they don't have those issues anymore. They're, the company's very financially stable. So they're in a position now to really grow the business, right? I mean, the foundation is definitely there to grow because we felt that it's going to stay a family business. We kind of grew a lot. We kind of grew the business a lot. Like you can grow the business externally, which is top line, bottom line, make it look really good, and kind of set it up for somebody else to be interested in.
Yeah.
We've operated our business, at least I have, and they are following the same idea, is that we're operating where the growth has been, a lot of it has been internally with systems and equipment and investing in machinery and all that kind of stuff, which just makes us stronger and stronger and better, even through these, the economy right now, things aren't at their best. But our company's solid, we're well spread out with our sales, with even our sources, supplies, and all that. The company is in really great shape to take it to whatever they want. And basically, the thinking is that we want to be a fully Canadian manufacturer. Like right now, we control 100% of all the finishing is done in house, from polishing, buffing, and that's all skilled labor to processes in powder coating, physical vapor deposition, which is the latest technology for gold finishes and all that. That's all done in house. We're the only company in Canada that has this sophisticated equipment to do this. So we started also doing our own machining, so we have equipment to do machining, and we want to grow the business that way. And I think that like I said, it's running like it's going to stay in the family forever. And I mean, geez, I wish I could be around to make sure that happens. But
we get the hardest. Gen 1 gets the hardest work, right? We're the ones that struggle. Yes. Client by client by client, and then the next gen, they just have to maintain it and grow it. Yes. If they want to keep it and not to become irrelevant.
Is it unfair to say sometimes I'm a little jealous?
Oh, absolutely. I'm with you.
Really?
100%.
Oh, good. Because sometimes I feel guilty for thinking that. Oh, my God.
Think about Henry Ford. Think about him.
Oh, my God.
Think about these large family companies who survive
so true.
For generation.
Exactly.
It starts with the first generation who's got an idea.
Yeah.
And then and this is why my focus as a family business advisor is to keep family businesses in the family. Because, gosh darn it, we work so hard to get that business off the ground and running, that we really want to see it continue and not to be sold out to someone else who didn't appreciate that hard work that the first 40 years, it was, like you say, late, working weekends, 24/7.
Oh, God, yeah.
My boys used to say to me, why are you always at work? Well, do you like eating? Yeah. Do you like a roof over your head?
I remember, maybe you probably went through something like this. I would, we used to rent movies. We used to go to Blockbuster and rent movies.
There's a key reason why you need to stay relevant.
Yes.
Look around you.
Exactly. But I remember going to rent movies so that my family could be watching these movies while I'm thinking about, so that I really don't have to... I'm with them, but I'm not really with them.
My mind, have to talk to them.
I'm physically there, but mentally I'm thinking who the hell am I paying this month?
Dominic, I would think that if this was today, you'd be watching a movie, but you'd have your laptop. So, that's the obvious part. So back then, you could just think and work and not really pay attention.
Oh my God, that's a great point.
But today, you'd be having your laptop and you'd be in trouble because you have your laptop and can't you watch the movie.
Oh my God, yes.
So anyway, I think we're just about out of time.
God, okay.
It goes by fast, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I always like to end every podcast with our guest giving 3 pieces of advice that you would give to other family businesses.
Oh, okay.
What would your 3 pieces be?
Well, I think one of the most important things I believe is, if you intend on leaving a legacy or, having the family carry on the business, I think the most important thing is, of course, to make sure that they really want to do this, because, you know, if you try and shove it down their throat and they're just trying to do it just to make you happy, I mean, it's really not about, it doesn't become about what we want anymore. It becomes about what they want. You got to respect that, right? I think too many people think that, you know, it's the next generation responsibility to honor your wishes. Not really. It's not going to happen. So you better make darn sure that they really want to do this, right? Number one. Number two is to make sure that they've developed the skills, either internally or, like you said, externally. You know, you probably have, you know, to be able to run this business, because it's not that easy, or at least, you know, be in a position to direct this business, right? You can probably surround yourself with some great managers and stuff like that. And I'm sure they'll probably know how to do that better than I could do that. I know my kids are better at it than I am, because it was hard for me to let go of all these things.
Well,
right?
and we didn't have, the business wasn't as established. You didn't have the resources.
Right?
Too. And you didn't have all that learning.
Exactly. So I think that that's important, and trust them to do that, because, you know, I often scratch my head saying, boy, I don't know if I would do that. But in today's times, yeah, I see it. I agree. You know?
And that's a hard thing to do.
Of course
right?
it is.
That's
of
very
course
hard.
it is. And and number three, don't think you have all the time in the world, because tomorrow's not promised to any one of us. So
that is great advice. It's so true. And that is my role, is to make sure that everything's all set up for whatever comes along.
Exactly.
Anyway, thank you so much.
It's such a pleasure.
And what if they want to look up your faucets, where would they find it?
www.rubinet.com is one. Instagram, we're on Instagram. We're on all these, But
so Rubinet is not, but it's spelled like Rubinet.
Yes, it's Rubinet.
Yeah, so it looks like Rubinet. And how many people call it Rubinet as opposed to Rubinet?
Probably half.
Rubinet, can't even say it.
Rubinet. Yeah, so just think of Dubonnet. Everybody knows that. With an R.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming in.
Pleasure. Enjoyed it.
If you liked this episode, subscribe to the Business of Family podcast on your favorite listening platform. You can also find Blue Roots on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. On the next show, I'll be back with another amazing guest who will inspire you with their family business insights. Until then, take care and keep it in the family. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered legal, tax, investment, or insurance advice. Before acting on any advice, please contact your personal or company advisors.